Welcome to this video. In this video tutorial, I'll show you how we can use the context API with a React Native application. So in the screen, as you can see, this is one of my applications which is I have delivered to client. In this application, I have extensively used the React context API. So it's up to you. You can use the Redux and other Redux or other state management library also. But in my case, this is not a bigger application, so I choose context API. So as you can see, there's not much more code also. Okay, this is very least amount of the code I have used to achieve whatever it was there. So I'll show you how exactly it is performing with the context API. So let's take a look. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to add some product to my order, to my cart. So this one is good. Yeah. Add. As you can see, it's instantly updating. So this is not updating in the front end also. This is sending a request to the server, and again it is getting back to the application, and instantly it is getting updated once it is changing the state. As you can see in the card also right here. Okay, I'm going to modify my card items. Okay, here in this item, let's say if I'm going to add increase a little bit, as you can see it's increasing, and as soon as it is increasing, price also is getting increased. Okay. Just to keep watch this one. I'm gonna decrease. As you can see, it's instantly happening. There is no difference between Redux or something. It might have some difference, but personally I don't know. But I'm finding this is very helpful, and I have used. I thought like let's share the idea with the other people. It may be helpful out there. So let's go give a try from the scratch. So I'm going to build a new project from the scratch. Okay, here expo init. Okay, context demo. So here we will select a blank project. Okay, so our project is ready. Now let's switch to our current directory, the project directory, which is context demo. Okay, so nothing to be installed as a dependency. By default we will work because the context API is coming with a default in React bundle. So let's open our code editor. Okay. So here app.js, we don't need the view and style, all those things, and in fact this is also style. Also we don't need style. Later on we will customize these things later. Okay, we only view. Good. So now this is the time we will create a couple of files right here. So first of all, let's create a directory which is called source. Inside this source we will create two more directories which is called screens, and one more directory will be inside the source, which is going to be like a store. That's good. So inside the screen we need one screen which is called we can keep any name. Let's say for my case I'm gonna keep it as a login screen.js. Okay, so here I will create this component to hook up with the app right here. So instead of this text field we will show the login screen. Let's create this component. Yes. Come on, not TS, R and honest component. So here I'm keeping the name. You might have thinking like how I've created this one right here. I'll show you how we can create this kind of the boilerplate code in one single command. Good, save. So to create this kind of the boilerplate code, because it's a wastage of time, I mean typing a lot of things right here. So go to the preference and user snippet. Here you can create your new user snippet right here. If you tap here, let's say I wish to create a new user snippet. Click here, type some name. Let's say demo. Okay, let me try. It's a very bad name. Let's say I'm gonna. It is a React component rn text. Enter. Then you can get this piece of source code right here. So uncomment here. and you put your code, whatever code is right there, you can put it right here, and inside the body you can put it. Okay, where exactly the argument will be required. So in my case, I have created save. I'll show you extension user snippet. Here, this is my component code snippet. As you can see, in the body I have put all those things. Wherever the input will be required, I'm putting argument 1, argument 2. So the whole code will be there, whatever it is required. So it is saving a lot of time, So good. So now our login screen is ready. Let's import these things right here inside the view. No, we will just returning login only. Login screen. This auto import. And that's a very good feature of the Visual Studio Code. That's good. So now our component is ready. Now this is the time exactly we can we need to introduce the context API. So for context API, what we will do, first of all, inside the store we will create one file, app context.js, which will help us to wrap up the whole action and reducer in one place, and providing that the accessibility to the children. Okay, so now let's import from React. React will be required, and here we will use our create context API, create context, and use reducer we will use to do use reducer. Yeah, that's good. So now const create of context. This function will take 3 parameters, which is going to be like reducer, and actions, and initial state. Go. Okay, now const we'll create context here from create context, which is we have imported in here from the React. Now we will create the provider function here. Provider function will have some object. In that object will have children. It's a deconstructed object, and it will return context and the provider. So we will this context and the provider. Sorry, it's typo. The provider will return right here. So just like return. Sorry. No, here. This will return. Context and okay, good. This so create app context function will return context and provider. Now we will use the use reducer function right here. Okay, so const state and dispatch will be coming from use reducer. The first parameter will be state, and second parameter will be dispatch from the use reducer. Use reducer will have some kind of like a reducer we will pass it here, and some initial state we will pass it here. So this reducer we will go inside the use reducer and initial state. Okay, good. Now we will actions, bound actions, and now we will go through a loop to bind the whatever actions will become, that actions we will bind right here through for loop. Key actions, bound actions with the key. Whatever key will become with that by bound action. Actions, the actions, specific actions key will go right here and dispatch it in and map with the dispatch. So that means whatever action will be there, that action we will pass the dispatch to the specific action. Okay, so I'll show you where exactly we will use the actions also. Okay, and so now we need to return the provider here. So provider will be context. This context will come over here, context dot provider, and provider has a value. Okay, this is the initial value. The initial value will be first of all state and bound actions, which will be accessible to children. Yeah, this children, which will be accessible to children. So that means in the context provider API, whatever action and states we will be passed through, that will be accessible from this children also. Okay, that's good. So almost it's almost ready. Now this is the time to export this function. Export create app context. That's good. This function will help us to create our user context, which will be accessible to children by wrapping up with the context provider along with the state and the actions. Okay, so now we will create our user context. Crap. First of all, we need to import app context, create app context. Now here we will go actions, and second we'll go reducers. Okay, so const user login. Here user it will expect one parameter which is called dispatch, and this dispatch it will come from the create on context API, where we will be binding right here bound action. We will pass this action right here, and this specific action will have the key. Apart from that, the key always it is passing this dispatch, which will be passed right here. Good. And this function will be also async. Come on. Okay, because maybe we will perform some web request here. Good. So now this is the time where we will dispatch. So this is the place where we will dispatch this action. So now dispatch will accept the parameters like type of action, type let's say did login, and payload will be some kind of like response for data. Okay, so this response will be, let's say this response will come from the web service. Response. Okay, it's a kind of object which is returning some data key. Inside the data key will be have some let's say name and address. Yeah, and it has a property called token. Token will be like anything, number. It's a combination of number or something else, where we will pass some secured token to access the application. So this response have data, or that's all. So for a while we will returning this one, and again we will do the same for another. We will create one more action. In this action we will say on user sign up. Okay, and Simon did sign up. Good. So here suppose there is some new user. Okay, address will be somewhere in India. and token will be also a little bit identity. It seems identical though, so let's change this token right here. Okay, good. So now these two actions are ready. So somehow we need to capture this actions payload. So our reducer will help you out in this case. So we will create here reducer const user reducer, and user reducer will be expect two parameters, state and action. Okay, and here, sorry, switch, come on, send that type, case will be same, delete login, return existing state, and payload will be action.payload, and the same thing gonna be happen for two cases we will reuse right here, because the both the cases will return the same type of data. Just we will check like whether it is a data is different or not. So let's sign up, okay. And default case, default return state. So our reducer also ready. Now this is now here we will create our user context here. So with the help of the create app context function, now export const will, come on, create app context. Create app context will require three parameters. This is called reducer and actions and initial state. So reducers, we will use user reducer here, reducers, and actions will be simply we will pass on user login, user sign up, and here will be our initial state. Initial state will be our user, okay, which is gonna be undefined. That's good. So but this create app context will return some kind of data. What data is returning? It is returning context and provider. Good. So that context and provider we need to return, deconstruct here from this object. So provider and context. Good. Okay, so seems all good. Here finally we have created our user context. So this is the time where we will hook up these contexts with our application. So now we will import from store, and it will be no. Why it is not coming? Because yes, so we can directly point to the specific file also, but it's a best practice. If you have a lot of files inside a directory where it need to be exported somewhere else, or you need to utilize somewhere else, then we will export into index.js, export store from user context and export store from create app context API. Okay, so here what we did, so we have exported all the components, all the methods or functions or whatever it is available in this two file, and it will accessible directly pointing to this store directory. Good. Now we will hook up our user context with the app component, which will be accessible by its children. So let's try it. Provider as provider, and let's wrap up this login screen component is provider. No, this is not going to be provider, it will be user provider. It's good. Now it is available. So in the login screen, we need to import. We need to import here user context, use context, common use context, and this context will be here. Now const, let's utilize this use context. Use context will take the React context which we have created earlier. So let's import here. Import from store here this context as this context. It is coming from there only. Okay, so now here user context, good, user context, and user context will return it will return our functions, and it will return our functions and states. So let's import state here. State and functions are available like on Azure. On user sign up. Let's cross check this to two method. It is exactly same, user login and user sign up. That's good. So now give a try. Now try to run this application. Okay, so now you can see this is perfectly working, but that means our context API is properly hooking up with our component. So let's create our one button. RN button, and he will say user login. So user login, that's fine. Okay, touchable opacity. Opacity. In this button, on press, we will call the on user login. Okay, and one more button will be required. Button here will be user sign up. In user sign up, we will call on user sign up. Okay, good. So here, whatever the return, whatever state changes will be happen, that we need to see somewhere. So okay, let's try to log the output whenever we are changing our state by clicking these two buttons. Then is it really changing or not? Let's check it. Okay, you can see now it is perfectly coming right here on login. And sign up. Let's try to print it out in the screen, so at least we can see correctly. State, as you can see, it is changing properly. All right, so now you can see it is working perfectly. I hope now you got the idea how to use the React Context API for our application. So the choice is up to you, whether you can use Redux and React Context API or some other stuff also. But apart from my understanding, whatever I understood, if you have a very small application and not much the complicated stuff, then you can fairly go for the React Context API. Where, as you can see, there is a minimum code, very less type of the code we have right now. Okay, and if you have a bigger application, definitely you can get a try with Redux also. So as I show you in the very beginning of this video, I have used in that application a React Context API, and I'm finding this is very helpful. If you have a very small type of application, then you can fairly go with the React Context API, which is exactly not use too much of the libraries, and even you can use the Redux also. But the problem is, like, using Redux, you need to install a lot of the extra libraries, which is going to be like increase your bundle size also. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be grateful if you subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.